Hello, welcome to Glen Meditation. Today's video is about travel. One philosophy I had when I was young and worked out for me a lot was even if I didn't have the money to do stuff, I still went and did it. I wanted to go to chiropractic school when I think I was 24, 25, and I decided to head out to Australia to study, and I didn't have the money at the time, but I just went for it. Actually, I left Canada, if I think I remember rightly, I had $420. And on the way to Australia, chiropractic school started in March, and it was about August the year before, so I had quite a bit of time. So I got a ticket that allowed me to stop in Tokyo, South Korea, Malaysia, and then on to Australia. But I only had, if I remember correctly, $420. And when I arrived in Tokyo, I got off the plane and I was riding around looking for backpackers that I'd read about online. But Tokyo is humongous, and I realized like within a little while that I was completely lost. I had no idea. Even at the airport, they had asked where I was going to stay, and I had said that I didn't know, so they acted like that they had lost my bag because they didn't trust me. So what they ended up doing is waiting to see where I had stayed, and then they delivered the bag out there, which was a big backpack that I bought. So anyhow, I was on the train. If I remember rightly, I had a few drinks on the plane, so I was a little bit tipsy as well. And some guy from the States approached me and said, "You okay?" And I said, "Well, I'm a bit lost." And he said, "Well, we have a church here, and we have extra rooms, and you can come and stay if you want." So in those days I was zero spiritual as well, so it was kind of interesting. So I trusted this person. I went off, and we ended up. He was making, even though it was a Christian church in Japan, they were making a Jamaican rock music video, a Christian Jamaican rock music video. And he used to work on the editing board, and it required another person to go up and play with the dials up in another part of the studio. So I ended up helping them edit videos for the weekend, actually, which turned out to be 5 days. And Shibuya is quite a nice part of Tokyo, so it was good to stay there and go around. And the food wasn't so expensive once you got into the back alleys and the regular places, as you'd expect. So anyhow, I ended up staying there with these people, and it was kind of cool. I think the main pastor was from Fiji, and he had a bass, and he used to play boom, 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 and then do a little bit of talking about Jesus and stuff, and people would just jump up and say, well, they had seen Jesus and stuff. So it was kind of a weird experience to be immersed in. And I ended up spending a lot of time with these pastor, his wife, and the guy I met on the train, and just having meals and talking about spirituality. And they were on a different level than me, for sure. But I just kind of sat there and absorbed it all in. And it was a good 5 days. I think I ended up spending like $100 the whole time in Tokyo for 5 days, which is incredible. Then after that, I was off to Korea, and this was in like '94, so there wasn't a lot of foreigners in Seoul at the time. So you basically just put on a suit and had a briefcase, and then people would approach you and offer you chances to come teach. And so I was teaching at one school, and I was totally realized within a few hours that the kids, you could see through me. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. The pay was good. I was getting like $43 an hour. But after the week of teaching there, I didn't go back, and I think I just kind of got scared off, realizing I didn't know what I was doing. I was totally ill-equipped and probably too shy and young and everything like that to do the job. And the kids were just like, "You're a bad teacher. Get out of here." They weren't very nice at all. And it was kind of like I didn't really enjoy the backpacker experience there. There was kind of pretty rough people, and it was just kind of not my gig being in Korea back then. But it was interesting. There was a lot of being invited out to dinners, and people drank quite a bit. So they used to, I remember, say "we hi oh" and then put the glass on their head and stuff like that. So that was kind of the culture in Korea in those days. Anyhow, I got to Malaysia and they told me that I had to stay there a month, but I was down to pretty well nothing after Korea. So I pushed on and asked them to put me on the next flight, which they did, which I had to do quite a bit of arguing to do. I arrived in Sydney with $50, and I'd been there the few months before looking at chiropractic school, so I knew one contact who had a backpackers, and he agreed that I could stay in his backpackers and have a bed, and I could pay for it once I got a job and got everything accustomed. And in those days, I don't know if it was you're young and better looking and all that kind of stuff, or it was just seemed really easy to get jobs, or the economy was good and stuff. And so within a couple of days, I had a couple waiter jobs, and I was good to go, and I was making money. And there was no tips like in North America, but the pay was pretty high. I think it was like $15 to $18 an hour just for waitering. And I had a couple jobs in the Rocks, one in a hotel and one in a restaurant along the waterfront right by the Opera House and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting to jump off the cliff with not much money and survive 5 days in Tokyo. And I think I was in 3 or 4 weeks in Korea. And then to breeze through Malaysia. I didn't end up staying there because of no money. But then to arrive in Australia with $50 and still be able to survive in a big city and have people help you out. And we had a lot of fun. Made a lot of friends in those. I think I was in Sydney about 4 or 5 months, staying in not a very nice part of town, and in a place called Bayswater, down by a nice cove, but it was basically in King's Cross, which was kind of a sort of dangerous area. I even remember one night we were all sitting up on the roof having a little bit of a party on the backpackers, and the police come and asked us if they'd seen anybody going out of the building next door, and we asked why, and they said, well, someone had come in and murdered someone while we were having the party out in that building, and they wanted to see if anybody had seen the person coming in and out. So King's Cross was quite of a rough area, and I'm not sure what I haven't been back to Sydney in years, so I'm not sure what King's Cross is like nowadays. But in those days it was rough, but it was kind of fun to jump off the cliff, leave Vancouver, not very much money, and be able to still survive and just seeing where life directed you. And that was kind of a philosophy I used with traveling for years, and kind of enjoyed just kind of seeing what happened. Anyhow, that's the beginning of my trip over to Australia. Take care.